ladies and gentlemen, it is none other than my favorite day, Sunday, April 10th, 2011. Oh, it's day 9, daily number 283. We're going to be doing some Terran versus Protoss. Again, we're going to be digging deep. Now, initially, the plan was to look at a lot of funky timings of other people, but I wanted to play, so we're going to look at my timings and how I discovered them, and we're going to watch a ton of games that end with absolute humiliation. Thank you, Tristan. So we're going to go ahead and talk all about that. I think that there's some things that we want to announce. I think that we're going to begin with Fun Day Monday. That is tomorrow. Please submit a game to monday@day9.tv of you trying to do, what's the theme for Fun Day Monday? I can't believe I blanked out. It's like my thing. Oh yeah. You announced 3 units at the start of a 1v1 game, and you are only allowed to make those three units all game long. Only those 3. You can be like, Zergling Infestor Broodlord. I want you to know queens count, but you're allowed to have like 1 queen per hatch. Just like no matter what. If you were like Zergling Roach Hydra, you could have like 3 queens on 3 hatches. That's cool. Observers don't count. I know you need detection. Overseers en masse do count, but in small numbers don't count, because I understand that you need to get detection to like not die. Terran Ravens, those always count. You can't be, oh, I need a Raven for detection. You have scan. And plus I know people are going to be doing those stupid combos like, I'm going to go Raven Ghost Thor, and I'm going to be like, I might choose it. Just submit it to monday@day9.tv. Tuesday, going to be a special topic for Newbie Tuesday. Woo. And of course, because everyone's been requesting it, Spanishiwa, I will bring you on the show for Friend Day Wednesday. I will do that, Spanishiwa, because I appreciate you. But of course, speaking of appreciation, let's begin with the person who I appreciate most, myself, only when I'm winning. Ugh. This is the topic of today's daily. Hardcore Terran versus Protoss analysis from the Terran point of view of me trying to flesh out a build. Karate chop. So, this is what we learned in the last 2 dailies. The idea of counting units, looking at the composition of the units that the opponent is building, and trying to make judgments of when to do timing attacks. If there's a lot of Stalkers and Zealots early on, we can definitively say that there are fewer buildings being constructed for that Protoss opponent. In particular, fewer Nexuses, fewer Robos. If he's getting a lot of sentries and fewer stalkers, then we can say something like, hey, he must be adding on more gateways. There must definitively be a expansion going down. We learn the idea of, if we move out and say, yeah, there should be about 16 units, but there's something like 8, we can immediately assume that there's a Colossus coming quite soon. And the important idea is that if we spot him cutting units early enough, then we can do a really cool timing push. And I was looking for ways to abuse those sorts of timing pushes. That was the big topic of the other daily, was a lot of unit counting, a lot of noting of the timing, to be able to get some sort of precise sense of what he's up to. So, now I want you to put on your Terran shoes, your Terran hat, your Terran, what are these things called? Cummerbunds? Terran cummerbund? Put on your Terran cummerbund. That's right. If you don't speak English as your first language, you don't even know what I'm talking about. But put it on. Because I took it upon myself to begin trying to flesh out a build order to do what I wanted. So let's first bring out Notepad. I think I even had some other notes. Yeah, see, look at me writing about my other... Close that bad boy. Alright, so this is what I wanted to do. First of all, I want fast command center. Right? I just want to do some sort of very fast expand. I don't know if I necessarily want to go 1 Barracks Ninja Expo, or if I want to go Barracks Gas. I'm in the mood to do Barracks Gas, because that's kind of what I was raised on. I want to open with some combo of Marines, Marauders, Reapers, off one gassy thingy. And then I want to go for more racks. And so here is the basic opening that I want. I'm going to put a little dash next to each one. You know, let's even put a star to make them seem more important. Here are my stars. There we go. Those are some other things, and I want a faster +1 attack. All right, that's good. Now, here's my general mid-game plan. I always want to talk about mid-game plans. I want to go big racks play is the large emphasis. I want to have many with Tech Lab. And up here, more racks, no add-ons. I want to have a lot of them with Tech Lab. I want to take a third, and then I want to tech up. Mid-game. Early game. These are my principles. Why this? Why this early game? Because I want to get an expansion fast. I want to not die, and I have some experience with this, as we'll see. Mid-game. I want to do a big Rax play. I'm talking like 6 barracks with Tech Lab before Factory. Because I want to exploit a Protoss player who tries to get these Colossi up. So I want to be doing some sort of maybe push pre 9 minutes and 30 seconds. That's where I'm really looking for. Pre 9 minutes and 30 seconds, maybe to 10 minutes. To exploit fast Colossus. And just start putting pressure on him. If I can hit him when he has like 1 Colossus out, I'm going to be the man. Don't think I won't be. Here are my guiding principles. So, you have your Terran Cummerbund on, and it's time for you to go do some practice games. That is what I did. This is game number 1. I am day 9 against none other than the infamous Player 2. That's right, I'm playing against a computer. I'm playing against a computer. I play against a computer for most of the games that we're going to see today because there's so much stuff to learn about. Now, let's start putting some shame out on the table. A lot of times when I play and a mistake occurs, it is because I'm trying to demonstrate what could possibly go wrong for a daily. That's what I like to do, right? I like to do something like, whoops, see, I forgot a supply depot. Oh my goodness, look how it's messing me up. I don't have that to fall back on today. This is what actually happened. I swapped out my mouse pad for a cloth mouse pad. I've had a metal one for 7 years, since late 2004. I've used the same mouse and same mouse pad. That's a lot of years to get used to that. Now I'm using cloth, and my mouse hand does not click on anything I want to. I'm always off by a little bit, so we're going to see plenty of me misclicking like crazy in this game. So let's talk about what my first attempt strategy was. So here is my my early and mid game. I'm actually going to open up another notepad over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up with a Rax on 12, Gas on 13. I'm going to go Marine, Marauder to Reaper. Reaper. I'm going to expand at the same time, add 4 racks. Oops, 3 racks. This is a build that, for any of you who, oh, what the heck was his name? I can't believe I'm forgetting that. He was one of the big, famous early Terrans who always did so well. In MLG, in the first MLG, he got 6th. What was his name? Someone help me. He quit. He had a voice. He sounded like a wraith. Rip. Cathan Luck. Thank you, Cathan Luck. Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. I know his real name, Rory. I know his last name, but I'm not going to say that on air because I do not wish to damn him. But this is a build that he popularized, right? I want to also note that there's a concussive in here. So here's my basic opening. So we're going to see actually my first mule I miss. Okay, now in this little demonstration, what I first end up doing in this game is actually send out an SCV to just mimic what scouting would be like. And there's my refinery going down. This is awesome. I literally, this barracks, I will be honest with you, was a misclick. I meant to put him there because I wanted to throw down a tech lab, but my mouse is driving me insane. We're going to see some gloriousness. Everyone knows the early barracks. Everyone knows the early gas. Okay, so watch this. Alright, so I'm now going to be building a depot pretty soon here. So here comes my Marine. Now I gotta lift it up. I accidentally click reactor. Okay, alright, good. I'm scooting it over. Let's go ahead and mule behind my minerals. Woo, baby, looking good. Oh, my play is good. Ow, he funny. So, what I want to note right here is that this is like the essential, fundamental. Oh my gosh, that's right. Sorry, I'm playing with the old game sounds. Gosh, that must have hurt your ears. Oh man, when that mule came down, bam! People are like, oh, whoa, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I want to make sure that you don't have your ears blown out. But yeah, so this is the basic framework that I think a lot of people have seen. But I want to start noting how important it is to be sensitive to what your early goals are. Now, here are my early goals. I want to make some Marauders. I want to put on a little bit of early pressure. Based upon the timings I learned yesterday, at around 340, his first Zealot should be popping out. That's a timing that we know in our heart of hearts. There's my first Marauder going down. There's my Tech Lab going down. Now, I want you to just be very sensitive to this resource count up here. I have more gas than I need. I have a lot more gas than I need at this phase in the game. That's okay, I'm leaving them in because I figure if I can't be accurate with a mule at all, I may as well just say to hell with it and try to just, you know, keep 3 in the gas. Why not? Now I'm kind of going, bah, maybe I don't need this much gas as I'm at like 100. And now I'm going out to expand, and it looks like I'll be throwing it down a little bit late. It looks like 4:30 is when I start that bad boy. So, you know, I'm going to write down some numbers here. So I'm going to write down some results. 4:30 command center is what ended up going down. So that seems good, and by good I mean pretty bad. And there's my Reaper coming out. The reason this Marine Marauder play early on was very popular, because you get the concussive shell, and you can do a little bit of early aggression. You can push right on out into the middle of the map. Generally, you'll encounter a Zealot and a Stalker here if he's being aggro. If you get the concussive shell, you actually push him back. He can't really mess with you so much because you slow his stuff down. And this is pretty easy, good stuff. Very, very easy. Moving right on out again. But I'm going to start experiencing some bumps coming up real soon. So I end up tossing down my 4 barracks. There they are. There's my barracks going down. I'm beginning to advance farther forward. I'm going to just pretend to do this. I have a Reaper coming out as well. Now, some of you may not be familiar with this basic opening. I actually skipped a supply depot. I'll talk about that in a moment. But with this push, the reason that you get this mix and then a Reaper is 2 reasons. One, if I push up here, again, I'm against player 2, I'm against the computer, and as we're going to see, he's just going to like crush my opening pretty bad. It's going to be pretty embarrassing. But as we're going to see, you can use your Reaper and your Marauder Marine to move up the ramp, and generally he'll have something like a Zealot and a Stalker, or Zealot and 2 Stalkers. You can use the Reaper to do a lot of damage to the Zealot, and the Marauders to just slow everything down. You can often push up into his base and be in good shape. It's very, very common for that to occur. So, the other important reason is that if you push the front like this, you can take this Reaper and just pop right on into the back of his base. Based upon our little timing list that we looked at yesterday, we know for a fact that around 6 minutes he will be moving in with the... He'll be getting warp gates. Man, I stuttered through that like crazy. I didn't get this depot for a while because I kind of thought to myself, you know what? I know that I'm going to be losing some units, so if I push a little bit aggressively, I'll end up losing them. And then that'll free up food. So I'm just going to move here. I'm actually attacking my own Marauder there for a moment, and I'm just going to let this stuff die to free the food up. It's not an accurate result, obviously. There's going to be stuff up there for me to micro against, for me to kill, but I'm trying to mirror this as much as possible to a real-life game scenario, just to sort of feel how it ends up working out. But I want to continue to this idea of let's be sensitive to how our resources feel. I'm noticing that I have a little bit too much gas, and whoopsie daisies, I still have my this from when I was playing on. I want to turn that off again. So now moving out to the command center, trying to get a bunker down. Now this game was feeling pretty awful right from the get-go. Oh, don't crash on me, Starcraft. Oh, that's right, I left the game. That's right. As you can see, I'm actually done playing through this game. I actually did not like the way that any of this felt. I'm getting some Marines out. I mean, there's some choppy timing here. This supply depot in particular bothered me a little bit. I even noticed if we back up just a touch, let me back up a bit, my Reaper actually gets here at 6:02. So what that means is that if I open up with this style and get this Reaper out, I do not get the opportunity to pop into his base to check out what's going on. If I sent a Reaper there at maybe 5 minutes, I could easily see that gateways were being made, like 3 gateways in his base. I could begin to make a response accordingly. I can do some good stuff with a Reaper that moves in at 5 minutes and 30 seconds, 5 minutes or so, but I can't do a lot of good with this Reaper. In particular, I'm noticing that this Reaper is getting here right as my stuff's dead. If I wanted to wait for the Reaper, then yeah, you know what, I could maybe get there at 5 minutes and 50 seconds, but that would still be right when his warp gate finished, and he would end up holding it off. Again, this is a build that Cthon Luck used at the dawn of time in the early beta days, and it had a lot more success because people were worse. People get better, and sometimes what used to work just doesn't work all that well. So I looked at this and said, this Reaper isn't working for me, this supply depot isn't working for me, this funky distribution of minerals and gas isn't working for me. Let me try something else. Now let's go on to the next game. You'll see I played a whole lot of games. These are all games of me playing all these El Naga Caverns games. So this one I'm playing again against my arch nemesis player 2. And there's a couple of thoughts that I had. One is, maybe I can just cut the concussive shells. Maybe I can just get rid of that entirely and pull some more guys off mining gas. Let's see what I ended up doing in this game. Let's see what little tiny adjustments I made. One thing I'm going to note, almost every time, I'm going to be getting the same early game and the same mid game. These are going to be pretty fixed, but we're going to see me try to really flesh stuff out a lot. For the record, this in general, this mid game where I have a lot of barracks and I'm pushing aggressively at him, I know that it has success because I've seen it work. For me, I'm not just going, hey, I'm going to come up with this plan out of thin air. I'm looking at a number of my games, a number of other people's games, and I'm weighing cost-benefit analysis, styling, to try to really figure out, you know, what I've seen be effective, and this is something that I've seen be effective. So, still going to note that. This opening, though, is a total choice on my part. So I didn't really like this. I hated this Reaper. I hated that stuff. And Command Center at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm going to keep that time in my back pocket. So let's see what I do this time. First, I throw down a supply depot. Yeah, I'm so awesome. Things are going to speed right along. I'm going to end up building a barracks. I have a little bit of space here. Is this the game where I tried to go for a barracks really, gas really early on? I think I may have done barracks. No, I made a gas geyser on 13. I played around a little with some early Reaper stuff. We'll see that in a moment. So I send out my fake scout worker. That's good stuff. But, you know, pretty early on I started to realize, when does this first zealot pop out? Well, it pops out around 3 minutes and 40 seconds. The hell am I sending an SCV out that early? If it was a 4-player map, yeah, I should be sending it out really early. But right now, I don't really have the biggest reason to, with the exception of, ooh, I better do that to stop cheese and that sort of thing. But there's really no big reason for me to be doing that. Alright, so I'm putting my stuff in, open it up. Now I'll actually close the production tab so we can look at things really, really closely. So I'm putting guys in the gas, and I think I'm noticing again, I have way more gas than I need if I'm going for some sort of Marine Marauder opening. And in this game, I believe I still end up cutting, I think I still end up getting this Marauder out. That's right. There's a Marauder, there's a concussive shell. Now here's the change I'm going to make in this game. I'm just going to get one Marauder, and then I'm going to go straight for the Reaper. I want you to realize how very, very slight of a change that is. I'm just going to cut that second Marauder and get the Reaper out and then get the other Marauder. Let's see what the result is. And again, I'm just trying to smooth this gameplay out. I'm trying to make it as bump-free as I possibly can. And we're going to end up seeing so many ways that it's going to end up being an issue. Look at me, kind of going, well, I guess I had guys and gas too long, so I'm pulling 2 guys out. I don't really need that much gas because I'm going to spend 50 on this Reaper and then another 25 on a Marauder, so that's going to be no big problem. There is the Marauder coming out and stuff. Now I'm going to be sending my SCV out, and hey, look at this. I'm going to throw down my command center a full 15 seconds earlier. Bam! Yeah, I love building that earlier. And we're going to end up continuing to make SCVs. Damn, my timing is impeccable. But again, I'm going to encounter another little itty-bitty problem. I'm moving out with these guys, and we're going to see my repair pop out. I'm having problems with this supply depot past the 27 food mark. I kind of don't want to build it. I kind of want to let this be my second supply depot. That's kind of what I'm going for. Kind of, sort of, if you think about it. That's what I want to do. It's what I want. So we're going to end up having my poor, tragic little SCV die. And what I'm doing is I'm saving up for these 3 barracks. There they end up going down. And I still really do not want to build this supply depot. I really wish I didn't have to do that. I am going to get supply blocked a little bit, but we're going to notice I have a glut of supply right when this thing finishes. So I'm moving out a little bit. Has his warp gate finished yet? Well, 6 minutes is normally when it finishes, so I'm going to pop in here with a Reaper, and I'm fake scouting him. Lols. Lols. So I'm just going to let him die. I don't really care that much. Why'd I let him die? Because in a real game, that Reaper probably will end up dying if I try to do some sort of aggressive scout with it. Chances are he will be deading. So it's reasonable for me to do that. And hey, it frees up another supply for me and my build. I'm going to stop launching this pen around in a moment. I need this pen to focus. It is my favorite pen. Yes. I'm also kind of aware that I need to be getting stim at some point. And I am building a bunker here right now. Now, I just want to point out for the moment, I am not really thinking about any huge vulnerabilities at this point. We're going to find out later there's some vulnerabilities with this build that I'm fleshing out. We're just trying to go for smoothness. So in this game, we're going to end up seeing a couple of things. I'm pulling all my stuff back because his warp gate should be finishing up right now. My bunker's a little bit late. I need to be mildly concerned about that. So there, my command center ends up finishing. And around 6, everything ends up getting done. I'm a little scared because of his warp gate push is coming. Assuming my bunker's down early enough. It's kind of cutting it a little bit close. Yeah, muling on time. See, here's this glut of supply. I'm talking about 33 at 46. I really did not want to have to build that depot. I kind of hate that a lot. Same way I was sensitive about having high gas and really not liking that other thing. Starting my stim now. I like the fact that my stim is starting at the 6-minute mark because at the 9-minute and 30-second mark, I would want to be making a mid-game push, so that kind of aligns up with that goal, right? With this notepad. Yeah, I want to do maybe a before 9-minute and 30-second push, so hey, I'm kind of liking the feel of that. I still don't know if I'm going to end up dying to an early push, but that's fine. I'm gonna live in my fantasy world for a little while longer. And I'm making nothing but Marines right now. I kind of feel like I should make some more Marauders, considering I did get that concussive shell upgrade, but this is just kind of what I'm doing. And now that I've sort of got that early game out of the way, I'm just sort of blasting out whatever I can when I can afford it in a reasonable way. So I'm getting my engineering bay, because that's, again, part of my early game goal. I kind of want a faster +1 attack. Alright, we're going to end up seeing me throw down a refinery at some point. It said additional supply depots required, but I was up on my game with that depot timing. So I'm getting yet another one. This one will actually finish just a pinch late, which of course makes me cry. Here's my engineering bay, starting an upgrade right away. Very good. Haven't missed any SCVs. I'll just tell you that for a fact, that I've been really good about building SCVs this game. But that's something that I would want to be really, really sensitive to throughout here. And this is feeling like alright. I'm kind of just trying to notice when I have money. And it seems like right around 60 supply, suddenly I'm like building out of all my barracks, and I just have way more money than I thought. Whoa! How the hell do I spend that money? So I just kind of do the intuitive thing. Build more barracks, because that was part of my goal anyways, right? Build a refinery! That was part of my goal anyways, right? But I'm noticing that these are a little bit too late. So that means next time I do this build, which is going to be right after this, I'm going to try to build those a lot earlier. And still, I'm trying to be very, very conscious about never missing an SCV, never missing a depot, but I do end up missing a depot. Now, for the record, the mighty Terran forces did hold off a brutal attack from the onslaught of Player 2. I want to pull it back and note something quite key. So, how big are maps, right? The distances are long, they're short, they're this and that. I want to point out time. Yeah. How long does it take for these stalkers to get to my front door? Tell me, Player 2. Right at the 7-minute mark, he moves out. Go, little zealots. Tequila. Okay, it took it looked like 50 seconds, but I was going to say that, you know, if it was just stalkers, it could have taken 35, 40, 45 seconds, somewhere in that range. What does that mean? Well, if I can just prevent him from warping stuff in close to my base, I gain another 40 seconds of security. That's pretty good. That's another round of Marines and Marauders. Almost 2 rounds of Marines. That's going to help a ton in terms of defense. So now suddenly I'm kind of thinking to myself, hey, if I put pressure on him early on, maybe that'll help me out a little bit. Maybe, just maybe, I can end up picking off that probe that tries to sneak out an early pylon, and I can be the frickin' man. So we're going to see me kind of progress on forward. I'm going to just look at the basics of my economy, how it ends up feeling with this style. Yeah, I'm getting my second gas kind of around the time I add these on. I'm going to need to get this third gas pretty soon, but I don't quite discover that this game. And this is what I was talking about slamming down a bunch of tech labs all of a sudden. I've been just kind of making Marines haphazardly, and I'm noticing, I'm kind of missing my my 9-minute 30-second timing push. When did my stim end up finishing? Well, it ended up finishing around, it looks like it's going to finish right before 9 minutes ends up wrapping up. So there it is. Yep, there it finishes, actually right on the 9-minute mark. So I'm kind of thinking to myself, yeah, you know what? I did want to do a timing push if I had the opportunity to, so I might want to be thinking about getting stim a little bit earlier on. Stim does seem like quite a bit of important stuff to do. The concussive shells just build so fast that I could, build it while it's doing this, while I'm doing the attack. So I'm not as sure that I like this. I can see that economically I can sustain it. I'm getting this command center down, but I'm also kind of saying to myself, I messed up my economy early. Maybe I don't actually have the opportunity to get that command center out. So I'm going to move out through the middle of the map. I think I kill my own stuff. Yep, freeing up some supply. I feel like I could have gotten these Marauders earlier. I'm killing off these rocks, and then I think, yeah, you know what? Let's try something a little different. So there's a number of things going on in this build order that I'm testing out. One is, how do I time my stim? The second is, how do I buy myself extra time against any warp gate push at all? And the other one is, when do I slam down all these barracks and these extra geysers? Those are the 3 things I'm really worried about. So let me notice that, hey, I'm at a 4-minute and 15-second command center. Yippee! Let's see. The first thing I really want to work on is super early game timing. When do I get the Reaper? Do I get the concussive? Do I get any Marauders? What order do I do this in? When do I slam down Rax's 5 and 6? Oops, 5 and 6. And expand. Stim timing. There's another one I want to add on here, which is mass tech lab timing. Because there's a really, really awesome thing that, for any of you who haven't experienced it, it's the greatest thing ever. When a Protoss suddenly tries to go Colossus, and you just slam down like 5 barracks worth of tech labs, and then you just kind of go attack a lot, and it's really easy to end up breaking down the front door if you time it right. So I want to time this tech lab timing down. This is kind of what I'm trying to work with. Let's see what ended up happening in some of my future games. This was, you'll notice that I have a couple like 1-minute games where I really hate the way things are. Yeah, 2 minutes and 40 seconds, 4 minutes. There's some more 10-minute games. You're noticing they're all right around 10 minutes long because that's when I'm kind of saying, yep, you know what? I'm not the biggest fan of me early game. So I'm going to pop this little overlay back up. I think this is one of the games where I just tried to pop out a Reaper right away, as fast as I could. Because that does a number of things. Keep in mind that there was this pesky supply depot. I'm going to put a little bonus 5. Pesky depot. The one that lets me go to 46 food. The one right before my command center finishes. I really hated that. I really did not like that one. So I'm going to build this, and I think I just... what did I end up doing this game? No, it looks like I'm just going to go for this again and just try to fiddle with my timings. Was this actually the same game as the last game? I'm certainly hoping not. Oh no, it's definitely different because I accidentally didn't set the guy to Protoss. So mysteriously, a Terran player just begins waltzing right into my front door. So I just do some tactical burrowing and unburrowing. And I still throw down this tech lab. And I again notice that I'm having this glut of gas. I don't really need that much unless I really desperately badly want to get concussive shell. And I'm not convinced that I do. So I get a Reaper, and then I'm kind of going, yeah, not the ideal timing. So I end up throwing this down. And hey, look at this. We're getting earlier and earlier. This is a 4-minute command center. So, oh my god, I can get a 4-minute command center. That's pretty good. I would generally take a little bit better notes than this, but that is okay. I am fine with how things are turning out. There's the Marauder getting produced. My Marine is moving forward, and right now is when generally a Protoss player Stalker would emerge, so I probably do need to end up retreating, but I'm really trying to check for some proxies. I'm sending this Reaper out. Now, what is it that I'm doing in this game? I'm thinking to myself, if I can kill that probe that's advancing out to build a proxy pylon, I can pretty much buy myself another 40 seconds of time. He has to go from his ramp to the front of my base. So that's what this movement is about. But still, I want to think a little bit more about this economy timing jazz. So there's my four barracks going down. I'm awesomely not throwing down a mule on time. 5 energy too late, which I think is pretty horrendous. Putting guys back in the gas, I do want to have my stim out eventually. And this command center is really, really close to being the timing that I want. I'm building another Marine. I don't have that awkward depot that I have to build at 27 of 27. If this thing can just pop out a few seconds earlier, actually transfer these a hair too early. There's my bunker that ends up throwing down, because one thing to note about a bunker... Oh, guys, come on, guys! There we go. It takes 40 seconds to build. If my guys weren't in the way, it would be finishing right at 6 minutes. Again, right when his warp gate units would end up finishing. My barracks are popping out a little bit more on time. Man, I started stim really early this game. Huh. I actually don't recall starting it quite so frickin' gosh darn early. But that might be something that I want to steal from myself later on. I actually didn't realize this. I have some idle SCVs because I'm awful. I'm actually a little annoyed. The reason they were idling themselves is because I didn't shift-click them back. And then I was up here going, oh my god! Again, my timings are not so good in this game. Come on, guys. Come on, little guys. And see, hey, look at that. My supply depot timing's a lot better now. Yeah, I'm liking that quite a bit. But now I'm starting to notice again, I have a glut of gas. Too much gas. The word of the day is apparently glut. I like never use that word in real life, but apparently I'm just using it like crazy now. I'm noticing I have way more gas than I actually desire. And again, many of you are probably going, well, isn't this a little bit hard to defend? Can't you just swing over the warp gate units on the side? I might not necessarily want to do this exact build on this exact map. Gosh, I have a lot of gas, and this build isn't actually so horrendous on this map. I'm still not looking so much for the ultra defensiveness of this build. I'm looking for more of the economy timing. I have my Reaper, who is of course scouted exactly what he's doing. And I'm actually studying my own play and sort of thinking to myself, you know, do I really need that extra concussive shell early on? I didn't get it this game, and that seemed to end up working out kind of okay. I think I might need some more Marauders, because I'm kind of a little bit Marine heavy, and considering the Marines have a little bit of a hard time against Stalkers early on, I might want to do that, but I'm kind of liking this stim timing. This might be a little bit too early, because it's finishing before I've even had a chance to slam down all the barracks as I wish. And hey, look, I'm building my barracks a touch earlier on. Yeah, get out of my base. I'm building these barracks earlier on. I've gotten my gas earlier on, because in the last game, it was around 60 food when I realized, holy crap, I might end up getting caught behind. My timing on my depots is actually quite good this game, so I'm pretty pleased with that. I realize I need to get this third refinery. We're noticing I don't exactly have the money to build that extra command center, so my initial suspicion was correct. I kind of realized that I didn't get combat shield as well this game, and I kind of have a lot of Marines. Not quite sure how I feel about that. Combat shield, as we note, takes 110 seconds to build, so about 2 minutes. I can't quite do the timing push that I want with a lot of Marines. And I still end up throwing down the command center later than last game. But anytime I'm feeling a little bit low on money, I'm just going to build a round of Marines. And then I stim, and I end up winning the game. Yeah. But I'm starting to become absolutely obsessed with this very, very super ultra early timing. So I want to show what eventually came out from a lot of games of testing. Where are the games when I'm playing against Tristan? Here are the games I play against Tristan. Let's back up to this game, to the 22nd game. So we'll end up coming right back into it. What I'm noticing is that, why do I need all this gas early on? it's so typical to do a refinery on 13, right? Everyone seems to want to do a refinery on 13 because that's just when you can afford it. But do you really need to do that? Here's going to come in. Actually, I should probably not show this game. This is when it's looking really good. I want to re-show this last game that we ended up watching, where it was a Terran versus Terran. There we go. Xel'Naga Caverns 19. And I'm going to write down a whole bunch of these times, right? I'm going to write down a whole bunch of these times. Let's write some times down of when things end up popping out.
SCV ready.
Okay, not so much this early jazz that I don't care as much about.
Additional supply depots required.
Additional supply depots required. Very good. Let's start noting some real interesting early times. Come on, get interesting. So here's our first Reaper, started at 3 minutes and 28 seconds. I'm going to write these numbers down exactly. First Reaper, 3 minutes and 28 seconds. I'll do it the other way, 3 minutes and 28 seconds. First Reaper. And here it really comes in the power of refinement, of moving things around. So I'm going to move things up. When exactly did this start? I was going a little fast. I was in Captain Zoom mode. So let's look at it. Yeah, it looks like I could have started a little early, but I'll still end up taking this as just a little bit of a poorly executed game. But that's fine, because execution is still an important component of refinement. Exact timings. Okay, cool. And I'm pulling some guys out. Let's see when the next major things happen. Have my hand over the pause button. I'm going to slowly zoom forward. I can tell you the next thing is going to be that flood of barracks that end up popping out. The Marauder I'm going to ignore because he's just going to be doing his own thing. And here come the barracks. Barracks 2 and 3 get started in 4 minutes and 33. I'm going to speed things up a bit.
SCV ready.
The 4th barracks, 4 minutes and 42, 4th racks. We're going to see this command center pop out in a moment. Marine gets started a little bit late. That's totally fine by me. I could probably end up sacking this Reaper later on.
Go, go, go.
Stim started at 5 minutes. Okay, I can subtract 14 seconds from that. 5 minutes and 5 seconds. 5:05 Stim. Bunker ends up starting down. I'm going to note that this is going to finish at 6 minutes, 12 seconds. Bunker ends up popping out. And now I end up getting this round of units out. I want to actually write down exactly when this guy pops out. When these dudes pop out, it looks like they're all going to be popping out. And they get down to the bottom of the ramp at 6 minutes and 17 seconds. 6 minutes, 17 seconds, 7 units at the bottom of my ramp. I have 1 Marauder, 2 Marines, there's 5 Marines, and this Marine I should have built earlier, but I just missed. 7 units, 6 Marines, 1 Marauder. 1 Mar. I want you to keep all these in mind. You don't actually have to keep them in mind, because I have them written right down there. And of course, my this supply depot is started after the orbital command. I'm not going to write down the ultra specifics of that. But here's where some benchmarking begins to come into play. Where was the last game I played before I sparred against Tristan? There is the game. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to do some really, really subtle adjustments. Some really subtle adjustments here. First, supply depot goes down. Now this is just my favorite thing in the whole universe when I start to stumble across some nice timings. I don't need all that gas early on, do I? If I'm going to make a Marine and then make a Reaper, I just do not need that much gas early on. So notice I'm at 13. I ain't making no frickin' refinery. I'm going to make another SCV here, and then right before 15, or right at 15, I should be making that right before 15. That's when I'm going to build my refinery. Watch this nice little timing here that pops up. There's my Marine, and there's my orbital command. I don't need to send a scout SCV yet, because of the fact that he is, in fact, doesn't even have a zealot out yet. But look at this, see, right when this guy finishes, if I built this a few seconds earlier, I could have had this tech lab pop out right on time. In the games that I'm going to be doing in a practice in a moment, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Look at how nicely this ends up lining up.
SCV ready.
And you see, I pulled one guy out of gas. I pulled him out a little bit too early because I could have started a Reaper. And, ooh, this game is actually an ugly-looking one. Ooh, ooh. Maybe this wasn't the refinement game I was looking for. I think it may have been a game against Tristan that I tried this against. I think, yeah, no, sorry, this is the 26th one. There we go. How embarrassing. Yeah, this is where I end up refining it. This is when Tristan got out of his game and was like, alright, I'm ready to practice. So here we go. Supply depot going down. Good. Very good. Coming on up. Barracks going down on 12. And right before 15 food, I will build my refinery. Alright, I'm at 14. Please tell me I did this. There it is. Right before 15 food. Alright, I think this is like the good timing game where I was like, yeah, I'm ready to test. So here's a Marine going to pop out. And there's the orbital command going to pop out. I have enough for a supply depot, but I wait just a little bit. Now watch as this Marine pops out. Have just enough for a tech lab. Throw that bad boy down. Send the Marine out because the Zealot pops out at 3 minutes and 40 seconds. No need to be too defensive early on. And then I pull 2 guys out of gas. Throw down a Reaper. Look at that. Have just enough gas. And I will tell you this right now. I will have 25 gas when this Reaper's done to be able to build a Marauder. So, let's end up sending this out. Ooh, am I getting that? Oh my gosh, please tell me. Yes, indeed. I'm getting it a lot earlier. 3 minutes and 52 seconds. Yeah. So, comparatively, 3 minutes and 52 for the first command center. Yeah. First Reaper out. Well, actually, when did I make that first Reaper? I'm going to write down the exact time. It should be at the exact same time. Yeah.
Add on.
3 minutes and 30 seconds. So without losing any time on the first Reaper, I'm still able to get my command center out just a smidgen earlier. So I'm going to keep this one guy in here, and these small little bits of extra money will come out and be quite useful. So what was the other time that I ended up writing down? When my other barracks ended up popping down. I'm wandering around with my Marine in the middle. I shall end up pulling it back. There's the Marauder going down. Totally, unbelievably kick ass. I will not be making an extra supply depot coming up. I'm going to use the command center for that jazz. Go me, go me, go me. Gonna save up and slam down all of my barracks at the same time. Look, 3 minutes and 35 seconds. I'm actually a little bit ahead. Whoops. 4 minutes and 35 seconds. 3 racks. I'm writing 435 because I had the money to do it, but the SCVs were behind. I just needed to send them out a little bit earlier. And there's my mule popping down on time. And look, another. I still have only had one guy in this refinery the whole time. There's been absolutely no need to do any of this business where I'm doing funky transferring. I'm throwing down a bunker. I'm feeling great. I'm a little supply blocked. I started to think to myself, maybe this shouldn't be a second Marauder. Maybe this should actually be a Marine, so that way I can get this extra SCV out. But the economy timing is lining up ever so much more awesome. There's the command center finishing, the bunker finishing earlier. Marauders go in. Marines popping on out. And when did we say everything was down at the bottom of the ramp? Yeah. And there's everything popping down. It looks like maybe a few seconds behind last game. Was it the same as last game? Yeah, at around 6 minutes and 17. Yeah, look at this, 6 minutes and 17. 6:17, 7 units. Again, except this time it's 3 Marauders, 4 Marines. So by managing the economy a little bit better, I actually ended up getting out 3 more Marauders. Now, I didn't get Stim, but if I'd swapped a Marauder out for a Marine, I would be able to have that going down right now. So I actually, basically, through managing this better, I turned a Marine into a Marauder, which doesn't actually sound like as much, but that's really good. That's awesome. That kicks ass. Because if you just think about a Marauder's amount of damage against some sort of early push, suddenly I'm able to hold off a lot more than I used to be able to. and I'm really liking the way that this economy continues to feel. I still think that I should maybe end up trying to throw down the stim just a touch earlier, like right now. I should probably get it. I could probably have gotten that at the 6-minute mark, so that way I can still do an early push out. But I would likely need to be pretty wary of what my opponent is doing at this point, because I really want to slam down all of my tech labs very, very soon. I really kind of want to be slamming my tech labs down at 7 minutes and 30 seconds-ish. So now I'm feeling pretty good. I finally have a timing that I like. I like the fact that I'm moving these SCVs in and out of the gas nicely. I like the fact that I'm getting the 3 racks and the Marauders out nicely. And it's all been through little tiny little moving this there and that there and using this SCV that does that to move here. And I ended up getting an extra Marauder out of all it. Yes! Yes! That's good. And I got my bunker down earlier. Go away, list. I got this bunker down a lot earlier. In the last game, it didn't end up popping down so early, so that helped a lot. I'm even making a wall off. I feel great. So then I was like, hey, Tristan, can you do this against me, please? And what I want you to do, where do the embarrassing games end up coming in? I think, yeah, we did 2 games. This game, I messed up, and then this game, I blue screened. So we're going to go on to this game. This is going to be a combination of a number of things going on in this game. I'll actually have a nice tie-in to the last 2 dailies about getting all hardcore about our analysis. So, in this game, I said to Tristan, I like the way that my build ends up feeling in the mid-game. I like how I get 6 barracks out. I need to fiddle with my tech lab timing a little bit, but, you know, after the daily, can you help me work on that? And he was like, yes, of course, right away, day 9. What he calls me Sean in real life, because that's what friends do. In this game, what I told him to do was just to try to 3-gate pressure me. Not a 4-gate all-in, but just to 3-gate me, because that's kind of what most Terran players or Protoss players are going to end up doing. If I can hold off a 3-gate really well, a kind of normal but just aggressive opening, then I'll be like, now test me on the 4-gate, and I'll try to come up with all the solutions. Let's see what ends up happening. And I want to emphasize the following. I'm going to get smashed by this early pressure, right? I'm going to get completely wrecked. But we're going to see that it's not as horrible as it's going to end up seeming. And it's so key to note that if you refine and flesh out a build and it feels pretty damn good, trust that feeling. It doesn't mean that I need to abandon it. Tristan and I are going to be practicing this for several hours after this game ends up wrapping up. Here's my very late refinery. Here comes his probe scout. I started to note some timings. You know, right when my barracks finish should be when his gateway ends up finishing. Cool. There's my orbital command. I'm sending this SCV out to scout now. My SCVs kind of take some funky long paths. And look, right as my marine finishes, have enough for a tech lab. Gadoosh. Except I'm terrible, so I didn't set a rally point. Awesome. And I'm going to poke into his base and just make sure that there's no insane savature of gas going on. So I'm going to poke in here. Notice that my SCV gets here right when the Zealot's going to pop out, because that's really when I want to end up seeing how he spends his gas. In other words, my SCV arrives right as the Cybernetics core is getting close to being done. Not a second earlier. Wanted to keep all that back home mining as much as possible. I delayed this supply depot by a lot, but it's still going to pop out right on time. And we're going to see my command center go down. Holy cow, could it be at 3 minutes and 50 seconds. A full 10 seconds before my sloppy timing. And a little bit before my previous timing. There's Tristaningu's first Zealot out there on the field, looking good. There's my Mariner out there. Did not want him to do any sort of early pressure with a Zealot. There's my one guy in the gas. Here comes my Marauder. Moving it on out. I'm trying to sweep to scout out, but Tristan does a smart thing. He just moves out early on with his Zealot. He should probably be a little more careful with that, because I can actually have a concussive shell out at this point in time, but I don't. And this is what's kind of funny when you end up transitioning from a build that you've been doing only against a computer to suddenly a build where against a real person. I was kind of like, oh yeah, I need to pay attention to this other junk that's going down. My barracks are still going to get started. Looks like this one is a little bit late. But I'm getting distracted with my micro, which I really should not be. Pulling back, planting down a bunker. Continuing to build SCVs, building a Marine. Remember in that last game where I was like, yeah, I don't know if I should build a Marauder. I think I should maybe build a Marine to save my supply. That's what I did in this game. And there he ends up throwing down the pylon, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, damn. My whole logic of get the early Reaper to kill off this pylon is not actually true. And we're seeing that his warp gate is about 10 seconds from finishing, so 6 minutes, as expected, will be the time for this push to pop out. And then we're seeing, the problem with Zelnaga Caverns, that I do not have any ability to cover the right side of my Nexus. But that's fine. We're going to come back here. We're going to note that, hey, I'm still getting that Marauder out. I'm still going to be making a lot of Marines. Cool, cool stuff. And Tristan has to pull back, but he's going to be making a lot of Stalkers. He's even chrono boosting a gateway. How threatening. He's so enraged he's destroying these destructible rocks. And suddenly, in the midst of all this attacking going on, I was actually distracted because that's one problem that I have a lot of, is when I talk on the phone, I really completely botch a lot of my ability to do all my basics. Such as remembering to build things out of the buildings that end up finishing. But what we're seeing here is an obvious problem with this opening, that this one bunker clearly is not enough. That I need to have this a lot earlier, that the timing of these Marines popping out is really critical, and that what I wanted my Reaper to initially do, which was to scout around and pick off pylons, wasn't actually as effective as I would have liked at all. In fact, it kind of sucked, right? Like, I just kind of had this Reaper and I was like, yeah, that's fine. We're going to end up making an adjustment in a little bit. But I'm noting, hey, Tristan kind of has a lot of Stalkers up right now. I know he really can't be doing that much else. I'm thinking maybe I build a bunker forward, because I started to hang up on him in Skype. But I'm still going to follow my add-on the second barracks, or barracks 5 and 6 at the same time as before. I should probably try to get concussive shell earlier, like before the stim, if I end up seeing this sort of thing, because then I can pick off some retreating units a little bit more easily. That might actually be the adjustment. Tristan could have expanded earlier, but I'm going to kind of ignore that. I try to end up doing some fancy control, but of course he just has a few too much stuff. But I'm not actually that far behind. I'm gonna lose, but I'm telling him to play out because I'm seeing so many Stalkers in his force. And if we even look at the food count, I'm not that much behind. Tristan's actually behind on his Nexus, but still, even if Tristan does make a Nexus in the midst of all this and spends all his money on Stalkers, the food counts are still going to be kind of even. In the unit counting station, we see that I'm a little bit behind on SCVs, but I do have a second command center, and I do have mules. And I have all these barracks out. So even though this is going horribly, even though this feels like garbage, I'm not just going to go, whoops, he broke my front. I guess I'm done. Look at me, I'm even re-expanding. I'm so bold. Man, I'm the shit. With some, a little bit fancy micro. Unfortunately, things just do not kill each other quickly enough. I could do superhero, insane, mega giga micro, but I think it's pretty clear that I'm slowly starting to lose grip. So Tristan is going to continue to put pressure on Stalkers, and I'm eventually begrudgingly going to leave. I thought I told my guys to repair earlier, but man, oof, how tragic. I don't quite get to throw down all my tech labs as I so desire. But I end up eventually dying, and the tragedy occurs. Oh no, Tristan would have won. So, a couple things that I noticed there is that clearly that's a huge issue, the fact that he can just walk right around, right? Clearly that's a big problem. Still noticing that I can get barracks 5 and 6 up, kind of on time. Still noticing my early game timing's still pretty adequate, still pretty solid and stuff. So we ended up playing out another game where I did the obvious move, which was to use my Reaper to try to pin him back into his base. Where I would run in there and try to kill off workers, try to just distract him, to try to pull his whole army back. So this is, I'm off the phone, and I'm like, Robo had finished. And I was like, I didn't have money that far behind. Tristan noting, could have burned money. Saying it seemed a little bit close, so that's good. I have an idea with the Reaper. Watch me be clever. Harass my main. Look at Tristan just be like, do the obvious thing instead of just having it sit on its ass and then die the first time I attack. And I'm like, ah, yes. That is exactly what I was thinking. And of course, look at him cursing, but thank God I have mature language filter on. I kind of want to open straight up with the Reaper and try to just mess with him right off the bat, because that will make him a little bit leery to move down his ramp with this threat of the Reaper, just sort of busting in and doing damage right away. I mean, just leaving a Reaper right there is annoying enough for Protoss. So I'm going to do the same timings that I did in the previous game. There's my triple racks, throw down, go down. Tristan, because he told me to harass with the Reaper, it just tries to spot in, so I end up trying to do the micro. But unfortunately, he ends up getting his sentry out. I'm not actually trying to do anything too dramatic with that Reaper. Just trying to let it exist there, hoping that he will pull back. And then I try to do this forward bunker business. See if this is a possible adjustment with the Reaper. It looks like his attack has, in fact, not been delayed at all. So my theory about the early Reaper might not be as effective. And then Tristan does the smart thing. Just walks right into my main! Oh my god! I'm just like, oh, I hate this map that was supposed to be in XD. So we're going to end up sorting some stuff out in just a moment. But what I want to do for the next few minutes is I want to get some responses from the audience, right? Get some ideas. Now, what I'm thinking I'm going to end up trying in the next game is just try to straight open Reaper. Straight open Reaper. Just get the Reaper earlier and earlier. The other idea I have is to get the Reaper way later. Actually get the Marauders with Concussive Shell and push him back in a direct fashion. But of course, the whole issue that I'm going to end up having is that I won't have my extra barracks pop out in a moment. Or one of my extra barracks pop out right when I need to around that 5-minute and 30-second mark. But there's an idea that's so obvious, that's so clearly a reasonable way to play the game out, that I just want to see if other people have these ideas. Now, what we're seeing is that in that game that I lost, it was actually a lot closer the first game than it seemed. Yeah, he got the chance to walk around, but if I can stabilize, what can he really do when I start pumping Marauders out? Marauders in medium-ish numbers are very, very threatening to deal with. Having played a style like this before, but not taken the time to refine it, I know that the mid-game Protoss is going to be very, very weak once I can get over this hump. What was I going to say? Lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I know it's going to be good, so I need to try to find a way to stay alive. But I'm not going to abandon it so early. I'm not going to end up doing that. Let's see here. Into Land says build the barracks on the low grounds. There's less space for him to micro. That's actually a pretty kick-ass idea. I actually like that quite a bit. That's pretty awesome. That actually was never something that I considered. If we actually just load up this game, the idea of maybe building, like, you know, a barracks here and a barracks here and then a bunker there to try to defend, but I'm still worried about him swinging around this side. I mean, if my barracks are here and he can just shoot at them from the other side, I'm still going to end up with maybe the same problem. It's pretty close. I might end up doing that. Now, here's a question. Here's from Sinani206 says, build the command center in your base and bunker up at the main ramp. Yeah, that's totally what I was thinking. However, I want to make the minor adjustment of actually building the bunker. Instead of here, up my ramp, I want to build it here. So that way, I don't end up with any sort of force field at the ramp problems. He could potentially sneak up this way, but, you know, I want to build a little bit of a forward bunker there and try to just secure that general region. That's actually the next thing that I want to end up trying. POC69, just switch to Protoss and 4-gate every single game. And also feel free to begin asking questions for these daily. But yeah, you know, I think that what I might end up doing is just trying to move right out with my first Marine, get right up in his face, retreat once the first Zealot pops out, but then move in with that Reaper and try to really end up unleashing a good amount of damage. Like, really swing around hard into his main. Let's see. I want to see if there's any other ideas. You know, I like the fact that people are adjusting building placement instead of doing other thing. Some people are saying do a 2 racks opening and then get the command center. I'm not the biggest fan of that because I'm not sure how much it'll help. But more importantly, it's going to delay my command center, which I kind of don't want. But the number one reason I don't want to do that is because I've practiced this really nice timing of getting this very, very late gas, and I think it's something I'm a fan of. Seize the Day says, get shell earlier and delay your expo just a tad if you have to, or just get 2 bunkers if you have to. The 2 bunkers I want to try, but I want to try the command center and the main first because it's a more slight adjustment. I wanna see if there's any more things. Yeah, you know what? That's probably what I'm going to end up doing there. And hopefully, at some point, when I've really fleshed this build out, I'll be able to revisit it. And it will just be a way later part 4. I'm going to take questions now. Just 1 or 2 questions. Yeah, questions, away. Morty2321 says, the versatility of Protoss has made my TvP my worst matchup. How can I recognize what my opponent is doing in time to react to it in an appropriate manner? That's exactly what we're kind of seeing in this game, that I want to have some good defense set up to be able to deal with some sort of 3-gate obnoxiousness. And I think that the key is going to be to really have nice timing with that early Reaper and just pop on into his main. There's 2 ways to always deal with trying to spot someone in time. One is to try to force a scout, either by scouting his front. The other one is to put so much pressure on his front that he just can't do that. So for instance, here I'm kind of thinking, man, maybe I should get a really early Reaper, or I should just still go for Marine Marauder hardcore aggressive pressuring with a concussive shell and get a little bit later of an expansion. That might be pretty kick frickin' ass. That's kind of what I want to do. Some people are just saying skip the Reaper because they're so useless on Xel'Naga. That might be what I end up going for, but if I end up doing that, I mean, I'm going to have this. It kind of then begs the question, well, why on earth am I getting any early gas at all if I'm not getting this Reaper? I'm also trying to practice this build to see how it'll work out on other maps, but I'm very intrigued by the Reaper's ability to do some early scout. I've been going for an hour and 1 minute. I'm going to end up wrapping the daily up. Submit games to Fun Day Monday. I am done. Please note the importance in this daily of just slowly fleshing out a build and how I'm just gently working through things one at a time. Just one at a time, real slowly. Takes a long time, but feel free to go into single player and flesh some timings out. You'll feel like a genius at the end. I'm done. Peace out. Bye-bye.